Hello, I thought I'd do a video on talking about the Zipstick joystick, which was a popular joystick back in the 90s or late 80s, I think. Anyway, it was popular on the using it with an Amiga or maybe the Commodore 64, something like that. You seem to get quite a lot of... They're not very consistent. You get some which are quite stiff when you move them. Some of them are quite loose. The quality seems to vary with these, and I didn't find a great deal of pictures of the internals of this joystick on the internet, but what I found is I'm going to show you how you can make, if you've got quite a stiff moving one, you can make it looser and things. So obviously first thing you want to do is give it a good clean, really, inside and out, which is I've done with it. This was filthy when I got this one. Some of them come with suction cups on the bottom here. Some of them come with some just pads, but some of them have more auto fire switch here. My one was missing, but I'll have to have a mess around with that and figure something out. Okay, so if you've got quite a stiff movement, it's to do most likely after you've cleaned it all up and everything, you try it again. It's that they use a spring inside here, and it creates a tension which decides how loose that's going to feel. Okay, I actually had a couple of these joysticks about 15 years ago. I got a couple. I wish I kept them because they're quite expensive now, unfortunately. But when I did two, I had one of them was really loose and I really liked it, and one of them was quite stiff feeling, but it just made me realise the difference in build quality, what seems to occur. I also noticed, looking at some pictures on the internet, I'll try and show you. Actually, I'll take this off first with the screwdriver. So to remove the joystick, by the way, apologies about this camera. I'm trying to get a new one at the moment. This one's just not very good, and it might be quite blurry, and it's just a not very good camera, but hopefully you'll pick up some things I'm trying to explain. So to take this whole shaft off, you carefully prise off. You can use a screwdriver. It's called an E-clip or a circlip or something. I don't actually know the proper name for this, but you just take this off. Okay. And then you can see, I'll take this off for now. So I've cleaned this up a little bit, but you can see you get rust after all these years and stuff. But anyway, so this kind of goes on here, and there's the spring, and then this goes here, and then the little thing goes on here to hold it all together. Now with this piece, I've noticed. With this piece, they seem to change depending on which Zipstick you've got. Some of them have a kind of square thing like this. This is just from some other arcade joystick or something. But it was more like this kind of thing. So if I just give me a moment. One moment. Yeah, so when it's like a square which hits. This isn't the proper piece, of course. It's like a square which sits inside there, but the one I've got anyway is like a rounded thing which hits the little switches. I don't actually know which is better or worse, but anyway, the one I've got has got this round one, so that's the one I've got. Excuse me, I've got a bit of a cold. Now, one thing to say about micro switches, a little test you can do to see if you've got a collection of them like me, because I've got quite a lot of different types, and you want to know which ones have been used the most, because you don't want to use one which is worn out. You might find with your Zipstick you have to change the micro switches, but you can just get them on eBay, because obviously if it's 30 years old now, or 20, 30 years old, they're going to be probably going to be quite worn. A little test you can do, I don't know if the camera will pick up, because like I said, it's not a very good camera. You have to look really carefully at this top piece, little white on this example. Usually when they're new, it's just rounded, but when you've got a really worn out one, I'll see if I can find one, hold on. Yeah, this one's badly worn. So this is the camera might not pick it up, but I'll just sort of believe me, I guess. So this one's kind of rounded on top, but this worn one is very square, it's flat. It's like a straight line. That's where it's obviously been really worn down. So I just know this has been used a lot, and I wouldn't use that one. So try and find some micro switches which have got a nice round. Here's one. It's an E switch, and it's really rounded on top. So this is new. This is a new one. I know it's new because I bought them new. But it's rounded nicely. Okay. Now another thing to say about micro switches. They've all got a different, I don't know the exact term, but it's to do with force of how hard it is to push that in. So, for example, this E switch is really light. So you push it in and it doesn't really push back much. Okay? With some joysticks, you want it to push back a lot. Like, for example, this one is really, if I push it, it's really firm. And it really pushes back a lot. So, I think the point I'm trying to make is if you've got a really light, loose joystick, and you push it and it hits the micro switch. If the micro switch is too light and it doesn't push back, it just won't perform very well. So the lightest ones I've ever seen are these. Where are they? 1 second. Which one is it? No, it's not those. I don't know where I put them. Where did I put them? I mean, this one's just insane. It's a cherry. Not all cherry micro switches are the same, but this particular cherry one is the lightest one I've ever seen. It's just like touching a piece of paper or something. There's just no firmness. There's still really, it doesn't mean there's nothing even wrong with this. It just means whatever joystick you use, it needs to push back, bounce back itself well, because nothing's going to push it back when it hit. But anyway, that's just something to know about micro switches. I'm not saying, I know the best ones to use with the Zipstick is you could just experiment or just get a medium firmness one, like these ones. These are quite a common one you see around a lot. I think these are the type what they actually used, quite common in the actual Zipstick. Okay, so the point of this video was to show you, if you've got a particularly tough, firm, stiff feeling Zipstick, how to make it lighter in action. What you need to do, so I'll just show you again. You've got the normal so I've put this in here, and then this goes on next like this. Can you see? And then this. And now when I'm pushing here, it's starting to become a bit firm. And then you use the little clip at the end. And that creates a certain firmness now because of the tension of the spring. Now what you want to do, and I've been doing this a little bit with this one already, but I'm going to do it some more because it was really stiff. Then I did this thing, what I'm going to show you, and it's better, but I'm going to do it a little bit more to make it a little bit lighter, how I like it. Nice slight action. It's all to do with this piece. As I say, your one might be a bit different. Sometimes they've got a square kind of up this inside this bit or something. But anyway, you might be able to guess what I've been doing. This is shiny this side, and this is worn, as you can see. So what I've been doing, the important thing is to do this, make sure you do it evenly. One way which helps is to get something like some paint or tape or something. I've got some tape here. You can see I'm just putting it round. I'm just putting it round here. Too bad. Not too good at the end there. Let me just change. That's not too bad. It's not perfect what I've done, but I'm just going to show you anyway. Now I don't know if you can pick this up. So I've taped off, and you can see a slight line. I'm basically going to take that off. I'm going to do it by sanding it down. The reason I've used the tape is I want to do it evenly, and using the tape I can see when all that black is, I've sanded all that black down. I know I've done it evenly once I hit the tape, okay? Now one really important, now when we do that, there's less mass on here, and it means the spring when it goes on when the spring goes on, it'll be touching. The only best way to explain it is there'll be less tension, because before, because it's all about that spring, how much tension it's given to. So normally it'd be like that, but then once I've taken off that piece, that spring, hopefully you could just, it's a bit hard to explain, but hopefully you know what I mean. That spring won't be as compressed as much, because there's more room here for it to move. It'll be down there, it'll be stretched out a little bit more now. So it's just loosening up. Okay, just kind of take my word for it, I guess, but hopefully you can kind of see in your mind what we're doing. But so it's all about that. Now, one thing to keep in mind is it's usually much less than you think. You might think I've got to take off loads. You might think I'll take off, you know, I'll take off 3 times as much as I've marked there, or 4 times. It's much less than you think. The gap between a stiff joystick and a loose one is like a millimetre or 2. It's hardly anything, okay? So don't go mad sanding off half of your thing. You could do a millimetre and then test it, and if it's not enough, do another millimetre, but take it slow. If you do mess up and do too much, and you think because you'll get to a point where it's so loose, the joystick's just not even a joystick anymore, it's just some flopping mess. If you do that and you've gone too far and you think, oh god, I just can't go backwards now, you can't put what you've sanded on back on off. You can't put what you sanded off back on. You can get something like, let me see if I can find something. That's too big, but I'll show you with well, this is metal, but you can use, you know, I can't find what I was going to do, but like a thin plastic washer. You could probably use a metal one if you really wanted. But what you do is when you put it all back together, where's the joystick? When you put it all back together, if you've taken off too much and your thing's too loose, you'll be compress the spring more. You could put a wash on the end at the bottom there, okay? And the more washers you put on, the more springs, that spring's going to get compressed. until it's really stiff again. I mean, I can hardly move that now, it's so stiff. If I let go, it's nice and loose. Okay, so hopefully I've explained well. So obviously the sanding, you just get something like a book. Let me see. Get some sandpaper. Oh, that's filthy. You can see there's some black dust on here where I've been doing this previously. So try and keep it flat when you're sanding. Spin it round sometimes. You're trying to, because we're trying to sand it evenly on all the sides. And then check how much you've done. You can see if your line's still there. Are you getting that? So you can go down to that white line, what I've made it marked out with a tape. If that tape isn't there, you just get lost. You think, oh, how much have I taken off? I just can't remember. You know, you just don't know what you're doing. It's best to mark it in some way. If you don't want to use tape, you could, well, just figure out something like a paint pen or something, a line. Okay, so it'll take some time. So you see it's taken quite a long time because I've not taken completely much off. But that's basically what we're doing. So when I've gone down to that line, I'll take off the tape and put it all back together. And then when I move the stick, it will be looser. It'll be nice and smooth. Oh, and that reminds me, when you've done all this, one thing I do recommend, which you probably, a lot of you will know about anyway, is get something like some, what type of grease is it? Well, this stuff is a good example. Grease, okay? There's certain greases you can use for joysticks, more recommended than others. And there's a company called SANWA who make arcade joysticks, and this is similar grease to what they use. I think SANWA use a light type of grease, and this one's medium. But you can use light, don't use a heavy one. You can use light or medium grease for the joysticks. So you want some. You'll want some grease here, here, here. Where's the spring? You want some grease here. Just everywhere where something's touching something else. So you want it here. You won't really need any down. I wouldn't worry about. Well, you can if you want. You could put some grease on here where it touches the spring. If you cover the spring in grease at a light coating of grease, the whole thing, just get some on your hands and then just wipe it around the whole thing. You don't have to go mad, just put some grease on it. It kind of helps it against things like corrosion and rust. It just gives it a bit of protection, so it's good to grease the whole spring too. So get that all nice and greased up, okay? And you know, in oh, bloody camera, I can't see a thing. Am I too close? Sorry, hang on. Yeah, so just get grease, as I said, on the main bits where things touch each other. So that's pretty much the whole video. I don't know if there's anything else to say about the Zipstick. If there's anything wrong with your cable, because obviously some of the cables are 20-30 years old too now. So this is the cable. I haven't tested this actually, so I don't know if this cable's right. Hopefully it is. If there's anything wrong with the cable, you could just get get another joystick like one you don't. I don't know if anyone likes these ones. But I could just steal this cable basically and use. Where's the other base bit? Yeah, so this goes in. in there, but I can just do that with this thingy, get this thingy in, you know, get this whatever strain relief thing in here. And anyway, you could just use a cable for another joystick if there's anything wrong with your cable. So is there anything else to say? Oh, one more thing to say. When you move the joystick, they say a joystick's got low. The joystick, you know, some people like it low travel, where you just move it a little bit and it hits the micro switch, so it's nice and really fast, and you can make. Or some people like longer travel, where you have to push it a little bit further. I like it when it's short travel, so you can. There's no lag really. As soon as you touch it, you move. You know, your sprite or whatever in the game moves. If you want to make it a little bit more than usual, so it reacts faster. Where's the... So you've got the... Yeah, when you've got a micro switch, I'll just put this... Give me 1 second. This goes... That. That goes on here. And when you've got this, will go end up down like that with the tension. I'll just put this on 1 moment. One second, please. Like that, yeah. Can you see that? So when that's... If you didn't like how far that's travelling, and you want it to react a bit quicker, if you get a micro switch, so that's the micro switch there. If you get one more like this one, let me see if I can find one. Yeah, this one, you can get them on eBay and things. It's got this metal thing on top. Can you see, like an arm or whatever you call it? If I use one of those... It doesn't have to travel as far because it's hitting that metal arm, and the metal arm is pushing. The metal arm is touching it, so it's less travel. But that's one way you can make the travel shorter. Another way would be to thicken up this, but I don't like that method, and whatever you put around it's going to wear out anyway, like tape, or, you know, it's not going to be, it'll only be a temporary solution really, whereas this would be permanent. It would just be shorter travel. So apart from that, yeah, the only thing I can say about these, I think they're absolutely brilliant joysticks. I wish I got more off eBay, like a decade, you know, in the earlier days of eBay when they were like £5, because now they're like £20 each or something. It's a bloody nightmare. Plus you don't know what condition you're getting, so if you spend £5 on one and it's not in good condition, you don't really care. But if you spend £20 or £25, then it's just crap anyway. It's just like, oh, I've just wasted the money. They're brilliant. They're arcade joystick quality, because they use micro switches just like arcade joysticks, and it's all the same. It's absolutely brilliant. Some people like the Competition Pro joysticks, but they're more like, I think a lot of them are more like the leaf type. So they don't use these switches. They call it a leaf, where it's there's no click. I like the click. I'm a click guy. I like the click sound when you use it. Okay. Oh, and also for the fire buttons, it's the same again. You've got these little. This is what hits the micro switch top. it'll hit there. But again, if you want to make that short travel, so it's really sensitive to touch, you just tap it and it hits the switch straight away. Again, you might be able to use like an arm to shorten the distance. You can cut the arm, obviously, just cut it. If this doesn't fit inside here, the arm's hitting against the side, you could just snip this end off. You only need it up to here, above the little thing. You could just cut that. So an arm would help, or you could figure out putting something in between this and this and the switch. Is this the worn one? I don't know. Yes, there's something in between these two, so it's a shorter distance. And one thing to say about the fire buttons, which is important, we were talking earlier about how much force feedback or whatever the micro, like this one gives a lot. It really pushes back. You'll need something strong like that on the fire buttons because there's no spring. So if you use, it won't come back up unless you need a micro switch which will push that button back up. Okay, there's no springs are used here. So the original ones which came with a Zipstick, which are these blue ones, they're not in bad condition actually, but they're a bit spongy feeling. I don't really like them, but they really push back hard. So obviously Zipstick, when this joystick was made, they knew they had to use something which pushes that button back up when after it's clicked and you let go. Okay. To be honest, you should use that for the joystick too. Really, something which when it hits the micro switch, the micro switch kind of pushes the joystick back a bit. That would be a good idea. Otherwise, the string will do it as long as the string's firm. But if you have a light string like I'm doing in this example, you're gonna, once it becomes light, nothing's gonna push that stick back in the middle when you let go. So you need the micro switch to kind of push back. Okay, I don't think there's anything else to say. Hopefully, maybe the video's been useful. I'll show you a bit of the mess before I go. Probably should try and get some not exactly working very tidy. And last but not least, wake up. Come on. Can I say hello? No, the cat doesn't want to wake up. Come on. Alright, from me and the cat, see you later.